Hello and welcome to the Early Bird Special with your hosts Carole Montgomery and Julia Scotti. And now here's Carole Montgomery.
Hey everybody, how are you? Welcome. What day is it? Do we know what day it is yet? Hello? What is it? What time? What is happening? Hi everybody. Welcome to the Early Bird Special. My name is Carole Montgomery. I am your fabulous host. I have to let you know right away. I'm done with my hair. I'm just done with it. I have not had my hair done yet. I cut it myself, and it's not very good. And I just said fuck it. I'm putting it up, so I have a little ponytail, which also works as a fabulous facelift if you're in your 60s. So that's what's happening. What's going on? What is happening in the world today? I'm a little out of it today. I'll talk about it with Julia and our fabulous guest Jane Condon. It's just today. Yesterday, I hit the wall. With everything about what's going on. I did not watch Voldemort's convention, but of course, being on social media, you can't miss the clips. And let me just say this, ladies and gentlemen who are watching: the best is yet to come. I mean, really. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? I mean, I'm a director, people who are out there in virtual land, and I so wanted to go, honey, don't start high. You have nowhere to go if you start high. She had nowhere to, I just wanted to, I was like, who directed her? Did anyone direct her? And then I realized that it was probably her boyfriend, whose daddy pays for her, who was, of course, sniffing who the fuck knows, probably went, oh no, do it big, do it bigger, do it bigger. And and of course the memes are just ridiculously funny. And so I couldn't. And then, of course, because we're on social media, I got to see the clips of yesterday's, and I'm done. I'm like, baseball fans, bring in the lefty. Please, somebody bring in the fucking lefty, because I don't know what is happening in this world anymore. I just want to go out and make people laugh, which is why we do this show. I just want to go out and make people laugh. I want to go into a comedy club, and I miss hecklers. This is how bad it is, ladies and gentlemen. I miss hecklers. Okay, I want somebody to go, you suck. So is your tits. I want that. I miss that so much. So could somebody please just ask me to show me? I will show you them now, because I'm 62 and I'm a whore. So So I apologize if I'm not my usual cheery self. But I think that's part of what's happening in the world. Is like, some people are taking it seriously, and some people are not taking it seriously. Like, for example, my son came to visit me out of the blue today. So, and of course, we're all wearing masks because he doesn't want to bring anything in from wherever he is, Brooklyn. A lot of germs in Brooklyn. And he said, he goes, half the people are wearing masks and half the people are not wearing masks. Look, what the fuck is that? And my son said this. My male son said, Mom, whenever I'm on the subway and no one's wearing masks, it's always the men. It's never the women. It's always the fucking men. So it's just, I'm a little perturbed at the world. So hopefully we'll get some laughs out of it today. So I'm going to bring on my good friend who I love so much, and she always makes me laugh. And I will tell you this: I love her very much, but she doesn't like to text, so she always tries to call me. And I'm like, please stop that. She's laughing at me. Let me bring her on and here's my fabulous co-host Julia Scotti.
Show me your tits. Well, I didn't know you didn't like me to call.
It's not that I don't like you to call, but
you just said it.
I did say it. I did just say, I don't like anybody to call. It's not just you. I don't like to talk to anybody.
All right. So I got to tell you, big day today in the Scotti household.
No, what's going on?
Well, A, got a haircut. Okay.
You look fabulous.
Thank you. B, it's Italian night here, Italian kitchen night here, and Hoda is coming over around
Wow.
6:30, and we're gonna have eggplant parmesan.
Wow.
She unfortunately she couldn't get here earlier. I wanted to have her on with me.
I know.
But,
That is so great. Well, tell her we have to. You speaking of eggplant parmesan. You and I will when we can actually cook together. I would like to do dueling eggplant parmesans
Okay.
because I'm Jewish. But I dated an Italian boy for many years.
Okay.
Who used to beat the shit out of me.
I was an Italian boy for many years.
Exactly. But you didn't beat the shit out of me.
No,
So, but I did learn how to make a fabulous eggplant. I know how to make the sauce and everything. So it'd be fun. That would be like a fun episode. Like if somebody picked us up.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice? Well, so you heard my little rant.
I did. It'll all be okay. You know what? If he's smart.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let's
rewind the tape on that. He's got a major hurricane coming that's going to kill thousands of people. He ought to just leave the convention alone and go do his job. But again, it ain't going to happen. So I'm, hoping these people make it through this hurricane.
I know it's very, and it's two hurricanes, right?
I think it is. I think they had sex and now it's just one giant hurricane.
Wow, two hurricanes having sex. I don't even know what to call that. Maybe that's what you call Don Jr.'s girlfriend.
Oh my God! What the hell is wrong with her?
Yeah, when I made the comment about that I wanted a director, this is what my dear friend said. Cocaine directed her.
I would say so. Jesus God, she was off the hook, man. I couldn't watch her. I had to put her on mute.
And still it hurt.
And still I could hear her.
It was just one of the most, and then of course with Melania, you were like,
what was the name of that Nazi film director, Lenny Riefenstahl?
I know who you're talking about.
That's what she looked like. I mean, what were they thinking? The only thing missing was the SS patch on the side of her arm.
I know.
I mean, bolts.
I know, and but she's also the woman that had the jacket that said, "I really don't care, do you?" So when she tries to act like, "Oh no, it's just this is the fashion I wanted," we know exactly what the fuck she's doing, and it's mind blowing. So so
Jane's not even going to want to come on now. We're talking about the Führer and.
All right, yeah. So let's talk about something nice before we bring on Miss Condon. Let's talk about Jane.
Jane, I have nothing but good things to say about my buddy Jane. She's the sweetest human being on the planet.
Not only is she the sweetest, but when you talk about somebody who's got scruples and ethics, I think you talk about Jane Condon.
You got it. She comes to your head in the first.
I get the feeling that if you cut her, just unicorns would fly out of her. You know what I mean? She's just so kind.
So she is like that.
And she's laughing in the green room. So we're going to bring her on now, so we can continue to talk about how great she is. Okay. I've known Jane. Wow, I guess since we'll have to figure it out, but I think it's because I've been back now 14 years here, and we met, and she's a real supporter of women in general, in comedy and everything, and just such a wonderful and funny. Like when you look at Jane, she just looks very unassuming, and then I have not seen her ever do badly. So I don't know.
I got to tell you, I met her at the fabulous Peggy Boyce's Ladies of Laughter competition, which was my first foray back into comedy when I came back into comedy. And she was there. I mean, she was so supportive. I mean,
she's a good girl. Well, let's bring Jane Condon on. Hey, Jane.
Hey. Hi, Jane. I'm so happy to be here. When you're talking about if you cut her unicorns, it reminded me, I don't know if you guys I have two friends who keep track of my malapropisms when I get the things mixed up. I can be like right church, wrong pew. And the other day I actually said, what was it? You don't bring a knife to a gunfight. which I know from growing up in a tough town. But I said, don't bring a nun to a gunfight. And I think that is also true, actually.
My money would be on the nun.
Right. So, yeah, absolutely.
Sister Edwardette would cut you. She would. And I don't know about my ethics. Like, it really wasn't a choice. I went to Cardinal Spellman High School, Codswell, in Brockton, Mass. Just no choice.
Yeah.
Well, also, I think the prison sentence straightened you out too, Janie.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back because I don't like bad food. I would like to be a judge, however, at the Parmesan cook-off because you'll get no competition from me. I might buy takeout and enter it in your contest.
I think that would be so much fun, like to have, like when things get back to normal, in 2030. That we do like have a brunch or something like that where we bring food and hang out and just
maybe Hoda will come. Hoda would come to that.
Maybe Hoda will come. Maybe
we could have a little comedian cook-off.
That would be what?
I can't. Cooking is not my thing. But we would take turns here in no such word as Irish cuisine. Okay, so. I'm trying
potatoes.
Oh, my dad, every night he had to have a baked potato. So
really?
Oh yeah. No, I love baked potatoes. And I also like this pandemic has reminded me of my childhood in that Spam really isn't that bad. I remember liking it as a child. If you put ketchup on it.
Yeah.
Well, wait. But I think I've been touting to all of my friends to the point of where I'm annoying about my air fryer.
Oh, yes.
Jane, do you have an air fryer, Jane?
No, is that for French fries? What is it?
Oh my God, for home fries. Are you kidding me? You take a potato, because that's really like a key ingredient in home fries.
Right.
And you just slice it, right? In like maybe, I don't know, 1/4-inch slices. And you layer them in the air fryer, spray them with a little vegetable oil, some Old Bay, and you pop them in the air fryer for about 12 minutes or something. Oh, delicioso. Yes, thereabouts, yeah, maybe longer.
We should do a recipe show.
We should. Well, you know what? But that would be bored. What are we gonna do? Hold it up and go? All right.
So, Janie, how are you holding up in this pandemic, since it's still never going to end?
I know you still have like ups and downs. I've been trying to think about life after the pandemic, and I'm thinking, I was trying to picture like a Trump presidential library, and I'm there, no books.
Nah.
A lot of videos. Would have like a Fox newsroom, maybe what else? Friends and felons, former wives. Maybe an apprentice room. But
bottles of piss.
Yeah. Trump presidential library, casino, and steakhouse.
What was the last one?
Anyway, it doesn't matter. But you have ups and downs. You just do. And when I feel down, I go for a long walk.
Yeah.
Or swim. Yeah. It's it comes and goes, the reality. I'm just working all the time so that I don't think about it.
I just scream into my refrigerator so no one can hear me.
Do you, Jane, have you been able to perform? Because Julia and I have done a few shows.
Yeah.
So,
last week I did the Burbank Comedy Festival, which I had entered. It was supposed to be in real life because my son lives out in LA, so I figured I'll go visit him. And then it went to virtual, so I could still do it. It's great. The West Coast shows we can do now, except their 8 o'clock is our 10 o'clock. So I have performed at 11:15, not by choice, but it's okay. You get to know them out there. That was fun, the Burbank Comedy Festival. And then my little 4 o'clock funnies on Thursdays. It's like this. We just get together and chat. It's a bunch of Boston comedy girls. Kathy Ferris, Kelly McFarland, Christine Hurley.
I love them all.
Oh no, these are seriously hysterical girls. And the woman who produces it is also Boston. Right after the pandemic, the guillotine came down, the life stopped, and everything got canceled. So the 13th, I was supposed to do Colleen's of Comedy with Patty Rossborough. That got canceled. And then the next week, everything just went poof, right? So
Right.
I'm on the line to the.
You get all these cute show names, though. The Colleen's of Comedy. I get like angry fat broads. And,
Hey, listen, Julia, tell us. First of all, I love this poster.
Where'd you get that?
I printed it out. Susan, your director.
I didn't even do that.
I love this poster.
It's a great. It's a great. You've seen the film, right, Jane?
A couple of times, yeah.
Isn't it? It's pretty.
I'm very, very. Julia, what happened at Aglyph and Bentonville? I haven't seen you since the Nantucket Film Festival.
Aglyph, you haven't? Oh, well, Aglyph was the All Genders Lifestyles. I forget what the I stands for, and the FF Film Festival. That was out in Texas, in Austin, Texas, and the film aired there. And it just was wonderful. We got fantastic reviews from a couple.
You got a great review. There was one spectacular review.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and
it's a great film. It really, and it's not just because you're our friend. I mean,
but partially. But no, honestly,
well, I had nothing to do with it. Susan Sanders, the genius behind it.
Honestly, Susan Sanders is also my fairy godmother. We got to introduce you to her, Carol, because this woman makes magic happen.
I've met Susan. She's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful lady.
She really got my one-person show launched. She gave me my director. She gave me my first theater, Ensemble Studio Theater. But
wow.
She did that wonderful movie Crossing Delancey in the 90s.
Yes. So I love that movie. I love that.
When you say it to anybody, they say, oh, yeah. And Julia's project took her 5 years. And after like 2 years, Julia and I are there like, let's wind it up. But she is patient enough to wait for the story to unfold. And then Julia kept throwing in just more, quadruple bypass, losing the first special. Julia always wanting to pull focus, hey, let's wind this up. And I learned a lot about documentaries through watching the process of the two of them. And I thought originally that it was going to be a story about a trans comedian. And then I thought, oh, well, it's a story about a comedian. And then what it finally ended up being, at least from my point of view, it was a story about a family, then a story about a comedian, then a story about a trans comedian. It was very funny how the order kept changing. But it has so many levels to it. And of course it's hysterical because it's Julia. And I love like the brunch that you got, breakfast.
Oh, the comedian's breakfast.
Breakfast, yeah.
Rich.
We have not been able to have them since the pandemic. We used to have them once a month.
I know.
Do a Zoom with all of them because you can tell how it would just get all of you charged up, and it was.
We had one up near New York at the TikTok Diner, which didn't make it into the film. At the TikTok Diner, a very famous diner in Secaucus or Clifton, I think it is. But at that breakfast was Max Alexander, not long before he passed, and Jeff Paremi was.
Oh my God, both of them.
Yeah, and so we.
You're bad luck. No, kidding.
I know, I'm the kiss of death, Scotty. But I believe in those things because we don't get to see each other unless it's on a gig or a funeral, and I hate going to the latter. And I just thought it would be nice. I started it with Letice Klopper, who from Cherry Hill too. We started it, God, I guess 2009, maybe.
Wow.
And it just perpetuated. I mean, they're great. You got to make it down. Both of you should come to them.
Oh yeah, I mean, the only reason I haven't is because I don't have a car. And I remember there were one time I was going to try to get someone who was going to pick me up at the bus, and it was like a whole. I mean, when we can get back to it, I would love to, because I do think that we don't get to spend any time with each other. That's one of the reasons why. Yeah. To plug my show that's the reason I came up with the idea for Women of a Certain Age, because it was like, oh, you mean I can actually choose who I want to work with and be with my friends? You know what I mean? Because we don't get to do that. The only like when we went and did the gigs in Philly, Julia drove from her home, and I drove down with Vanessa Hollingshead, and it was great because literally it was like a 2-hour drive. It felt like 5 minutes, because when you're in a car driving with another comic, we've all been there.
It's the most fun.
It's the most fun.
It's like you could not see the person for 2-3 years at a time. Right. The minute they get in the car, it's like you just pick up where you left off.
Where you left off.
Yeah, it's family, because it's family,
Right.
Yeah.
And that's go ahead, Jay.
No, we are a tribe. It's just, it's funny, all this talk, not talk, I hope action now about Black Lives Matter and diversity being important. I always felt we actually have a diverse community. The comedy community is pretty diverse. And I think that's been one of our strengths, just, yes. Show me your world. I always say to the younger ones. Right. Bill Hicks did a whole thing on smoking. Both my parents died of lung cancer, but he invited me into his world. He tried to make a case, and they're like, well, I'm not going to smoke, but you are funny. And he made a good case.
And that's it. And that's the point. I think, we judge each other as comics by the quality of our work.
Right.
Not by what we look like or what our,
and we're tremendously honest. We're like so honest.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like you can, when you're in a group of diverse comics, it's never about the diversity. It's about, oh, that joke sucked.
Right. Yeah. It's about the ability. It is.
We don't care what you look like if you can make us laugh.
Right.
Carole, with you, the show that I always flash back to was the one in Stanford. It was some bar, and I think they were like lawyers or something. They should have known better. They were very early. And I remember Brad Axelrod's daughter was there. And I did fine, but you got on and you're just, rah! And these people were there like, where did that come from? And I was laughing my fanny off because people in Connecticut are not used to such, it was, but I still remember, I'm there like, look at her take charge. It was just a thing of beauty.
Oh, thank you.
I have to tell you, every time I'm around Jane, I swear 73% less than I normally do. She just brings out.
Yeah, I swear more because I know it gets her a little.
Oh, no.
Yes.
On our 4:00 funnies, Kelly finally figured this out about me. And someone just innocently said the word balls. And, I'm thinking kickball, tennis balls. And Kelly is in the background going like this. I'm like, Kelly, you just have to stop. All right. I can't handle this.
But let me just say to the audience who don't know Jane, I mean, she's acting all prudish and stuff, but she can get into it with all of us. So
she can.
So look at her with her little fucking halo behind her head. She's that's it.
We got drunk one night. She just wanted to go down to the pier. I said, Jane, come on.
No, but I want to tell them one other little story though about Julia. Was on Nantucket. We're on Nantucket now, and go by a lemonade stand. I hitting the brake. Julia shield, and I said, Julia, we just have a thing in my family. When you see a lemonade stand, you got to stop. And she looked at me and she said, let them learn disappointment. And I laughed so hard. That night, I emceed the show, and I said, could I borrow that? And I said it. And then when she heard it, she must have thought it was funny too. And then what I was so totally flattered was she said, can I use that joke? It's your joke. And then you used it partially on America's Got Talent.
I did use it on America's Got Talent.
I was there like, oh yeah, baby. I remember exactly where we were on the Pulpus Road. It was just, wow. And by the way, that green, when I see that green, I think of you on America's Got Talent because you had a green.
Oh, right. I had lime on. Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's right.
Lime is a very good color for you. And blue is a very good color for you, Miss Jane.
Oh, well, thank you, because I'm just getting back to blue. Usually I'm purple, like your crawl. And I like purple, but I was doing a local TV show on Sunday, and this woman who sells me clothes up here, these are all hers. It's Bonnie Roseman. The penguins on the scarf. I don't even wear stuff. And I thought, oh, Bonnie's going to be on this show too. I got to wear something by Bonnie. And I hadn't been dressed up since March, sincerely. So it was just, it's kind of an odd feeling. You know, hey, I'm fine doing comedy sitting down. Are you guys fine with it? Doesn't bother me.
What?
Are you talking about the Zoom shows, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Like versus sitting down.
I don't do them. I don't even do them.
I've done a couple. I was very anti them for a long time. And then I did a couple of them. And, you know, I mean, it's something. I know comics who do Zoom shows and they stand up and I have a mic because this is also, my office is also the music room. But I don't really, I don't feel comfortable doing them. You know, there was one Zoom show I did and there were like 80 people watching. So you could see the people watching and laughing, but it's just not the same thing.
No.
You know? So
we did. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go. You can talk about Philly.
No, well, we did Philly, but I also did a show a couple of weeks ago with Chris Monty, and I forget, it's going to hate me for it, but we were out in the middle of the woods, like I mean, really, literally out in the middle of the woods, and they had a gigantic.
So it was an outdoor show.
It was an outdoor show, but it was a big tent, you know, and it was fantastic. It was like, you know, oh my God, I forgot how much I love this job, but I can't do the Zoomers. I just can't.
I think you see it as a TV thing, just a little.
I just keep on to say deposit another quarter for the next 3
Well,
minutes.
I think for you, Julia, another reason you may not want to do it is, you know, you're used to having people's attention. Same with you, Carol. You're used to having people's attention for 45 minutes to an hour, and there ain't nobody on earth who can hold anybody's attention right now for 45 minutes to an hour. We've all, everybody's ADD like me. But it's some short attention span theater. And to ask
it's also
you,
the energy, Janie. It's also that energy that you know that feeds you while you're working.
Oh yeah. What I've done on some shows, if I can even just I'll say leave the comedians unmuted, and I can hear them, or at least 5 to 10 people. The best case scenario is you have multiple rooms of 25 in a room, and leave one room open. Have an intern or tech kid. If somebody makes a sound, you just instantly mute them. But I have fought the good fight. I've performed with dogs interrupting kids, cats. I asked someone to put their parrot in the other room. The one that killed me, the one that I thought I'm going to shoot somebody, and I don't usually shoot people. Was the guy who was there going?
No,
eating his cereal. And
you want to know why I don't want to do this thing?
I know, but like I feel like we're athletes and we have to keep getting out there. What was interesting about doing the Burbank Comedy Festival was I had 3 spots, and most people do like the same great 5-minute set, and I'm there like, I gotta practice my own stuff. So I did 3 different sets.
Right.
And just in good intellectual exercise, like how would you rearrange it? What are your 3 5-minute sets that you like? What do you think? You know, it was going to be a younger audience, comedy festival, more clubbish, so less stories, maybe. So I've tried to just use it all as.
But how do you time it? Do you hear them laughing? You hear them laughing?
Yeah. The thing is, you don't hear them laughing as much as you would in our natural circumstances. But my actor-writer son said, Mom, we learned to act to a trash can. You just got to be a pro and bring that level. Christine Hurley said it great too. Christine, Kelly, and Kathy have all done. This is a tough outdoor gig. They've done the drive-ins at Gillette Stadium, Giant Stadium. And they said, that one's really tough because they either beep their horn or they flash their lights, but you don't hear anybody laughing because they're in their cars. Christine gave Kathy great advice. She did it last week, and she said, look, just commit at your level. Don't try to be bigger or smaller. Just use the level you've always used, and don't apologize. Don't just be that.
Right.
That's always good for you. And because she said it's a tough gig, but our job has always been put, right? A lot of us, we did laundromats, libraries. We've been put in different.
Yeah.
But you were live. That's the thing.
I know.
I've done delis.
Right.
And that I love that because I got a free
I've
sandwich.
done pizza parlors. Yeah.
It's good.
Well, here's the thing about, I agree with you, what you're saying, Jane, about, we have to keep working and trying to figure it out. The reason I did my process whenever I do new material, I don't know if this is what you gals do, but my timing is very musical. Like, so I have to hear the joke as I don't care if they're not laughing. So in that case, Zoom shows are great because I can try new material out just to hear the musicality of the joke.
Right.
So the first show that I did live was a month ago when we did the show in Philly for Soul Joe. And I was, you get up there and I told the audience, I said, none of us have been on stage for 4 months. And the first, we were all a little like at the beginning, but then as soon as we got that first big laugh, we all went, and we got right back into it. So I
like a bicycle.
Huh?
Like riding a bicycle.
It really is.
This show I was talking to you about, the one that was outdoors last week, I was nervous. I brought up, notes with me, but the first 5 minutes, I just forgot about the notes and everything. And I did my 45, and then I asked the audience if they would mind if I stayed long. I wound up doing an hour and change because it was all coming back,
Right.
as if I had never left it.
It's in your muscle memory.
It is.
You know what?
Think so.
For the people who don't, I understand how Zoom, it's a different box. It's a totally different medium. It's an intimate, more intimate thing, which to me says maybe you can go a little more storyish. You don't have to be as pound. But what was I going to say? Sorry, I've forgotten.
It was like the week we had Karen Rinkowski on it. She told that she had done one Zoomer, and then she told the story that they lasted about 10 minutes, but it was so funny.
Right.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. Just look, if people aren't comfortable in this or the drive-in environment or the outdoor tent or whatever, just write a little out while we have this. I'm calling this myself the lost year, and because I'm doing the 4 o'clock funnies, that actually helps my MC skills because my job is to make them look good. We started out doing sets, and it just didn't sound right. And everyone said to me, I'm not comfortable doing this. Can we just talk? Because like this, comedians are fun to listen to. I don't know why. We just, every once in a while we just crack each other up, no matter whether we're talking about a process like this or.
Well, it's kind of like being able to peek behind the scenes of you see the comic working on the stage, but then the stuff that goes on behind them.
Right.
Like Carole, you've said this, the funniest shit happened.
Always
backstage.
Always backstage.
And I love in your specials, Carole, you had the interstitials, you had backstage stuff. I think that really, that was a wonderful added element to the show. And when I do theater shows, I really like when they have like a Q&A afterwards.
Right.
Because then we got to be on our toes, because we don't know what's coming at us. And I love that.
Well, one of the interstitials that we didn't get to show, and I was so pissed, is so for the nobody we had a camera for the second special backstage, but we should have had it for the first special because literally Fran Drescher's on stage. I'm about to go on next, and there was a mirror right by the stage, and I looked in the mirror and I went, "Oh, I really don't like my hair." And out of nowhere, Vanessa Hollingshead and Carrie Louise, who were both on the show, had hairspray and brushes, and they were like, and it was, like literally, they were doing this as I was walking on stage, and that was a moment that I wished we had captured. Yeah. Because, and they were both at the second special, so they did help do my hair again. But it's that type of stuff where comics are sitting around, like with Julia for the second special. You were the one that decided on that you wanted to have the cue card.
Actually, it was
was it Caroline?
Carole,
I think it
leave
was
her.
yeah, I think it was Caroline. But when she said it, everybody went, "I want him too. I want him too." We all really just needed bullet points. I think more than anything. Caroline, yeah, she didn't really even need. She needed bullet points, but
right. And what happened with me was so like you literally see us all writing them out, and they're like because we're all old and we can't fucking see, so they're So Carrie Louise says, well, do you want me to hold your cue cards? And I said, sure. So and Julia will tell you this. Every single one of us needed that until we got on stage and got the first joke.
That's exactly right.
As soon as the first joke happened and we hit, but poor Carrie stood there.
God bless Carrie.
Like this. She literally was like this. The whole every time I moved, she moved with. She was so funny because I should have just leaned over and said, "I'm fine. You don't have to do that anymore." But it was really interesting to see that we all said, "Yeah, we should have that." And I think it was just the nervousness of.
You know what ran through my mind when we were doing that, Carol, that back in the old days of the Ed Sullivan Show, which was a live show, and these comics didn't have cue cards, they didn't have teleprompters, they had to go out, and if they went up,
oh my God,
they were screwed.
Yeah.
By the way, going
sorry,
up is forgetting your lines for civilians.
Have you guys listened to or read Judy Gold's book? It's so excellent. It's like a history of comedy and a history of women in comedy, and she talks a lot about. And it's supposed to be about
the cancel culture
and everything. Yeah, when they come for the comedians, and we're in trouble, something like that. She's so opinionated that it's great for the book, and her reading is the way to listen to it because she's Judy Gold,
right?
And it's really fun. I remember being pushed against the wall at Stand Up New York by Judy Gold. That was my introduction. I literally got thrown against the wall.
Wow. What happened?
Well, she just breezed through and I was in the way.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's okay. It's now that I, know, now that I get her, I take it as a badge of honor.
Well, Judy was when we did the first Women of a Certain Age, we did it at the Cinder Block Festival in Brooklyn, which will, by the way, September 8th, it will have been 3 years that we did the first show. And Judy was it was the two headliners we had that night with Judy Gold and Janine Garofalo. Who knew what this would become, So I have not read the book yet. I would, my son, when he had a job, used to work at a bookstore, and he would be able to bring me, he'd bring me the books. But now, the books, all the bookstores are closed now too. So it's very sad. Oh, so before we have a couple of questions we have to ask.
Okay.
We ask every female comic this question. If
Are
you
we at that point already?
Yeah, it's almost 40 minutes already.
Oh my God. You told me it would go fast.
If you had to sleep with a Cuomo, which Cuomo? Andrew, Chris, or Mario?
Oh no. Even I'm too young for Mario. Okay. It was a great speech though. I'll give him that. No, not Chris, because he had COVID. He was in the basement. No, Andrew is my man. Andrew is so, and I know people say he can be abrasive and this and that. That guy was my tether to reality when, Trump would go on at 4:00 or Pence. And Andrew, I didn't find him until, late into the game. And he would just be the facts man and science. And I love how he'd say, New Yorkers are tough. We're loving. I'm going to get through this. And he had an answer for every question. It was nuanced. Except that I really wanted a female, preferably woman of color, vice presidential candidate. I would have had him as my presidential candidate, and believe me, Kamala was actually my first preferred person in the primary, so that was very satisfying to me. I also like Pete Buttigieg, and I also like Amy Klobuchar. But Biden just, what I thought was great, I did watch the DNC last week. It would be like after my Burbank shows, I taped it. I just found the whole DNC very soothing. And
yeah.
About Biden, he went up in my estimation. I always thought he was a good guy, but somehow decency is a real selling point for me these days.
Well, you haven't seen it in so long, yeah.
Right.
I don't even care if it's boring or whatever. Like, I don't want to think about politics as much as we're thinking about politics. I want someone to take the tiller and, nice coloring. I want someone to take the tiller and run. And I think the Democrats have a pretty deep bench. And then last night, or 2 nights ago, I watched Kimberly Guilfoyle. Oh my God. Gavin Newsom is so lucky. I don't know what he's doing. As someone must have said, when you're in a theater, you must project. Colbert had a great.
She reminded me. Remember the old Crazy Eddie commercial?
Yes, that's exactly.
Come on down.
Come on down.
Oh, look at that. I can't believe I just did that on public.
You said up front, Carol, about being a director. Literally, I was in my bedroom going like this too. I just said, bring it down, girl. Bring it down.
Let me give you some hope. Speaking of Biden and Harris. Now, my son, it was a Bernie bro. Most young millennials are.
I understand that when you're young, you have hope.
Right. And then I will tell you this, that, when we talk about politics with and he said, Mom, Biden isn't my first choice, but he's telling every one of his friends, like when his friends go, yeah, but he's part of the establishment. He goes, do you want 4 more years of the other one? Like he understands what's at stake.
Yes.
But that's really important because he's 28 and he understands. And also I love Kamala. I mean Kamala, right? Yeah. Because I always fuck up her name, but I
punctuation mark, comma, like you put a comma.
Kamala. Oh, okay.
Can I shift gears just a tad about the name Kamala? There was Randy Rainbow thing. Have you all been following this?
Oh my God, Randy Rainbow. I want Andrew Cuomo to be king, and I want Randy Rainbow to be the court jester or vice president.
Yeah, but have you seen the tweets he put out like 10 years ago? I know we're going back to the cancel culture.
I know how you upon some of those, but
I mean, all right. So how do you? I mean, for me, I was like, what? As a gay man, how could he even do that?
Right.
How do you ladies feel about that?
Wait a minute, what did he say? I must have missed it then. What? Was he anti?
There was a lot of transphobic, a lot of homophobic, a lot of racial stuff too, a lot of racist stuff.
Is he okay now? I
guess so. I mean, I don't know.
But I didn't know about that, Julia.
Well, I think that we've had this discussion. I think we had the discussion when Jesse was on about where do you draw the line
exactly
on when, like, if this was 10 years ago, and I did look it up because you would sent it to me, Julia, and he's apologized and he's that I was a different person. The problem with all of this is when do we say it's okay if you made a mistake? If you make a mistake once, even twice, I'm willing to see them change. Now, if they do it again after 3 times, okay, now you're showing your true colors.
Yeah, I agree. I think he should be.
People should know enough now to,
All right. So having said that, if himself came out tomorrow and said, I was wrong about the comment about good people on both sides. I was wrong about all the racial stuff I've said about the Confederate statues. If he came out tomorrow and said that, would you believe him?
No.
Oh, no. But I don't think he ever would.
but I think I've said this on the show about him. All he had to do, he had one chance to get the country behind him. Is that at the beginning of this pandemic, he went, we are in a crisis, ladies and gentlemen, and I will do what I can. Instead of being at a fucking rally going, the Democrats, this is a hoax. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. The Democrats weren't that fucking smart, because if it was a hoax and we got the entire world into it, then Hillary would be fucking president right now. So the fact that he said it, that's what bothers me. I would never, I remember saying this to a friend of mine who was a big Trumper. And I said this early on in this. I said, I'd love to meet Trump and just say to him, sir, because I would say, sir, because I would go, you got to get a sense of humor. If you have a sense of humor about any of this, do you know what I mean? But he's so not that man. He so does not, like, you know, there were all these memes about Don Jr., you know, and the cocaine thing, right? So on Twitter, there was somebody had posted something to Don Jr. It was Kermit snorting coke. And so he goes and copies it and he goes, I think this picture is a picture of Hunter Biden. It's like, that's all they do is they deflect, is the word deflect. Anytime you hear this motherfucker say something, he is saying what he is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No.
Your use of motherfucker is M-fucker. Put that out there.
Yes. But that's the thing is that it's, you know, we're still, like my son just said this to me, like he goes, I can't believe it's 5 months later. He was doing laundry yesterday and he's looking around and goes, we're still in this.
But he's got a chance to redeem himself now with this hurricane. He really does. I think if he somehow finds somebody gets to him and goes, listen, pal, you gotta be a president in this one because a lot of people are gonna die over this if you don't.
Yeah, but he won't. He won't. I mean, you're giving him a lot of credit. If
I'm trying to make him, you know, do the right thing.
But that was the whole thing, is that when he first got, all these people who voted for him said, give him a chance, give him a chance. I said, I've given him a chance. I gave him a chance and he failed.
I don't expect him to do it. I expect
he'll blame the hurricane. He'll say that the hurricane, it was a Democratic hoax. Those fucking Democrats somehow.
They timed it, didn't they?
All right. We have to ask a show business question because we've been doing politics and, okay. Who inspired you when you started out, Jane? Like, it could be famous or non-famous.
Yeah. Okay, so many. If I had to pick just one, and for comedy, it would be Lily Tomlin. I mean, I almost cry when I say her name. I hold her in such reverence. And I did get to see her live, which was wonderful at Dixon Place. I also took a lot from Joan Rivers, who she was everything. I remember seeing her at the duplex upstairs, that little 70-seat thing.
Wow, yeah.
Wow.
Kind of petite, and she was just charging around, and she just gave off that energy, and I thought, I got to up my game. Okay, nobody pays to see normal, but like, I was so impressed by her physicality, and she's really smart, and she was such a great host on all those TV shows.
Right.
And I mean, she's really amazing. But Lily tells stories. I think I'm closer to what Lily is. Lily is more vulnerable and open. You know,
did you get to meet that? Did you get to meet either one of them?
I got to meet Lily just very much in passing. And I got my picture.
Did Joe just stop in to do a set? Did she just stop in to do a set?
No, she was doing a benefit for Dixon Place, you know, down on River, whatever.
Yeah. Well, no, because she worked there a lot when she was coming up. Yeah.
And I just something, because, you know, I'm not a hard-hitting comedian, but she made vulnerability strength and sensitivity. And, you know, that's more my wheelhouse. The more brave I get about showing that, I think, you know, that it's just closer to my voice. But like, even before I knew all of that, and God bless Jane Wagner, who wrote so much of that material for her. But the search for signs of intelligent life in the universe were, you know, I mean, I have many other female heroes, but
she's the one. Well, I'll tell you a great. Go ahead, Julia.
No, I was just Jane mentioned vulnerability, and that's one of Persky's laws for comedy: be vulnerable.
Oh, really? Yeah. What did he say, Julia?
Bill Persky, the writer from he's got 4 rules, and I'll bring it closer so you maybe you can see it. He says, start with the truth, stay human. Don't reach for ugly, be vulnerable. And I added, let the situation carry you.
Yep.
You know, and those are my rules. I follow Persky because God knows he knows what the hell he's talking about.
What would Persky do? That would be WWPD.
Yes.
What would Persky do? But I got to tell you a great story with the Lily's solo show. So the first time I saw it was when it was first out, and I think I was
Wow.
just starting to be a comic. I was, and then and of course I was just overwhelmed by it. And then we came. I don't know if we were living here or if we were back on the West Coast at this point, but we went to see it when she revived it, which was I think like 20 years later.
Wow.
And I saw it again. And I mean, it's an emotional show to begin with, but for me to watch it now as a seasoned comic, as opposed to being somebody who wanted to, I mean, I blubbered through the whole thing because my husband's like, but it's funny. I said, but now I'm a comic. And he could not understand why. I mean,
you were seeing many levels. Yeah.
Yeah. And she was one of my, I mean, I'm hoping that if we get more specials, that she would grace us with her presence.
Oh, wow. Well, wow. Wouldn't that be just amazing?
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. But, the problem is that we all forget that in this time, because we're in COVID, she's 80. You know what I mean? Like, she can't go on a plane.
Do you feel like that? I'm feeling like all my idols are passing. Like Carl Reiner just died, and it's like, and there's a part of me that's like, no, that can't be. They're still 40 years old. They're still, they can't be dying of old age. Like Mel Brooks.
I don't like to think of people dying. I like to think they've gone to the Bahamas.
I can't even bear to watch them, fade away like that. I mean, it's. Right. I look at Mel Brooks and I'm like, no, you can't leave me, Mel. I mean, I just feel that way, and but it's a reminder of my own mortality. I don't know if you all are feeling that, but I'm, I feel like, every time the door knock rings, I think it's the Grim Reaper.
Go ahead, Carol.
No, I was just going to say that I got to see Mel when he was at Radio City, and he. Wow. Except for the fact that he looked just like my father, because he was a little Jewish man. He was on fire. I could not believe, and this was a couple of years ago, so he had to have been 90, and he was just zippity doo dah, like he was amazing. He was amazing.
He is amazing.
And you know what? We've been watching the Bob Newhart show from the beginning, and I'm telling you, that show,
the first one,
the first one is. It's so underrated. It's so underrated. I'm hoping that one day I get to meet him, because he's getting up there too.
I just posted on Facebook. It's funny you mentioned it. The finale from the second one.
Oh, that's the greatest.
Because I was watching Suzanne Plachette being interviewed this morning, and it's an old interview. But it's weird that you and I connected on that Newhart level. We didn't even know. I didn't even know you were watching them.
Oh yeah. Do you know about the finale, Jane? The second season. Julia, you want to tell the great story?
Are you familiar with the first show where he played the psychologist?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And there was always scenes where
Suzanne Plachette, does that have anything to do with it?
Yes.
I missed what she said. I didn't hear what she said. But
he woke up in bed with Suzanne Plachette. Something about, I don't know if that has anything to do with anything. That's all.
They always did. He did. They did a lot of scenes together in bed where they would, work out issues, and it was a very iconic scene, and they always had the same kind of sheets and blankets and blah blah blah. Well, at the end of the second series, he's the innkeeper, right? He gets hit in the head with a golf ball, knocked unconscious. The next scene is dark screens gone to black. And very pale light shines, and it's the set from the first show.
And the audience goes fucking crazy.
It's it.
Oh, how wonderful!
I put it up on Facebook today. If you have some time, take a look at it.
I will. I will.
It is to me the number one.
Me too.
Series finale of all time, because it's so, and the way the lights come up. I mean, they do it. They play it.
Yeah.
And the studio audience screams.
And they lit Suzanne Plachette so that you couldn't be sure if it was her or not.
Right.
Until because you hear her growl a little bit, and that's that unmistakable growl that she had.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies, I hate to tell you this, but we got to go. We are done.
All
my God. This has been...
Both. I can't wait to see you in real life.
Yes. Yes. Mike Rowe. Mike Rowe is saying hi. Hi, kids. Been
Hi,
so
Mike
long.
Rowe. Hey.
God. Mike, you missed the whole show. If you're showing up now, you're missing it.
Mike Rowe is a huge Dick Van Dyke fan. That's
I know.
That's all he ever wanted to do was write.
Right. And he also had back in the day when we had VHS, he would say, I have VHS tapes of Groucho and Harpo, all this great stuff that because I'm a huge Marx Brothers fan. He said to say, sorry. Well, we all love you, Mike Rowe, and we are leaving because we end by it's past what we usually do.
Yeah.
Julia, what do we have to plug?
Oh, I just happen to have this album. It's called "Hello Boys, I'm Back" on Uproar Records, and I'm working. I'm doing a show, an outdoor show, Saturday night with Joey Novick and I think Buddy Fitzpatrick in Clinton, New Jersey, at the Holiday Inn in Clinton, New Jersey.
So, Janie, how about you?
Just my Thursday 4 o'clock funnies, and then if you go to Funny Over 50, you'll see interviews with both of these ladies. I want to get back to that, but I got so busy with this 4 o'clock funnies, and then the comedy shows just started. And then real life, where are your children? Yeah. So I have like a couple of fundraisers coming up, but I don't know the date. United
Just
Way.
go to Jane Condon's website, right? That's where they are, and all of that stuff is there.
Yep.
I'm going to be doing a diner.
All right.
Next Friday, and I'm doing some outdoor shows, and I'm drinking heavily. So that's what I'm doing during this pandemic. Please, folks who are still watching, follow these fabulous ladies, follow funny women of a certain age, support live comedy, support everything, please, because we're hurting and we just want to be out there and make you guys laugh. So we love you guys. Jane, if you want to stay on for a second after we end, just so we can say our goodbyes. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.